You're watching Netrush Report, your home for emotional rivalries, shocking truths, and the untold human side of the biggest stories in sports. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because what Jessica Pegula and Madison Keys just revealed exposes one of the darkest corners of professional tennis, that it's supposed to be a sport built on grace, skill, and perseverance. But behind the bright courts, glittering trophies, and million-dollar sponsorships lies something truly disturbing. A world where losing a match doesn't just cost ranking points. It costs players their peace, safety, and dignity. And it's not just anonymous online comments. It's personal, it's invasive, it's relentless. Jessica Pegula and Madison Keys, two of America's most respected WTA stars, recently ripped the lid off this ugly reality in their podcast, The Player's Box. What they described wasn't just casual trolling, it was systematic abuse, fueled by gambling, money loss, and pure rage. Pegula, currently ranked number 5 in the world, didn't mince her words. Sarcastically but painfully, she laid bare the irony of how players become emotional punching bags for people who risk money they can't afford to lose. She said bluntly that some gamblers treat players like slot machines, and when they lose, they lash out, spewing hate as if athletes owe them their paycheck. And Madison Keys, who's seen both the highs of Grand Slam finals and the lows of injury setbacks, shared a story that stunned even her co-hosts. She revealed she had to change her name on Venmo because gamblers actually found her account and started sending her messages, demanding money, calling her names, even issuing threats, all because they'd lost a bet. Imagine that. A professional athlete, forced to hide her real name just to avoid being harassed through a payment app. This isn't just mean-spirited trash talk. It's a violation of boundaries. It's a psychological assault that players are increasingly struggling to ignore. Keys even cited an example, a gambler who sent her a message saying, "I lost my last $5. I hope you die." $5, that's all it took to trigger a flood of hatred towards someone dedicating their life to the sport. And if that sounds extreme, it's not rare. This kind of message is common now. Pegula explained that nearly every player she knows receives similar threats after losses. Men, women, top seeds, qualifiers, it doesn't matter. The moment someone loses a match that ruins a gambler's sure bet, the DMs start flooding in. It's an epidemic that's grown alongside the explosion of online sports betting. With apps making gambling easier than ever, more fans have turned into investors, staking their emotions and wallets on player performances. And when the bets fail, frustration turns to hatred, and hatred turns to harassment. For women in tennis, the abuse is often even worse. Pegula and Keys said it's not just insults about losing, it's body shaming, it's misogynistic slurs, it's threats of violence, it's stalker-like behavior disguised as fan engagement. This is the ugly reality behind the glamorous highlight reels we see on TV. The 2025 French Open, Pegula experienced this in the most painful way possible. After being stunned in a shocking fourth-round loss to French wildcard Lois Boisson, a match no one expected her to lose, her social media was instantly bombarded. Instead of support, she got hate. Hundreds of messages poured in, filled with insults and threats. Gamblers who'd lost money blamed her personally for their bad luck. In one Instagram story, Pegula posted screenshots of the messages. They weren't critiques. They were pure venom. One read, "Thanks for ruining my parlay. Hope your career ends." Another said, "You cost me rent this month. You're a fraud." And the most chilling ones went further. Personal, dark, and cruel. She captioned her post simply, "Every time you think it can't get worse, it does." That wasn't a cry for pity. It was a cry for awareness. Because for players like Pegula and Keys, this isn't about money or ego. It's about mental safety. It's about knowing that after giving everything on court, they shouldn't have to log off the internet in fear. Pegula, the daughter of billionaire Buffalo Bills owners, might look like she lives a life insulated from this chaos. But fame doesn't protect anyone from hate. If anything, it magnifies it. She's been one of the sport's most consistent performers over the past few years, representing the U.S. with class and composure. Yet, the pressure of being a top player, while dealing with constant digital abuse, is something even she admits wears her down. "Sometimes you lose, and you already feel bad," she said. But then you open your phone and get called every name you can imagine. It's not just noise. It's a wave of negativity that hits you when you're at your weakest. And that's the part that hits hardest. These attacks don't come when players are celebrating wins. They come when they're hurting, when they've fallen short, when they need encouragement, not cruelty. Madison Keys echoed those sentiments, as she's known for her sunny personality and powerful game. But behind that smile is someone who's had to build emotional armor just to survive. In her words, "It's gotten so bad that I had to literally change my name on Venmo. People found me, tracked my profile, and started sending hate messages through payment apps. It's crazy. Crazy, but real." Keys also pointed out that gambling abuse doesn't just target big names. Even lower-ranked players, those grinding through qualifiers and challengers, are getting it worse. Some are getting death threats after first-round losses. And without the media spotlight or PR protection of top players, they're left to deal with it alone. In a sport that preaches mental health awareness, that's a terrifying contradiction, but it's worth remembering that Pegula and Keys aren't just athletes. They're voices of their generation in tennis. Their podcast, The Player's Box, has become a safe space for players to open up about mental health, personal struggles, and the realities that fans rarely see. But this episode struck a different chord. It wasn't just about tennis. It was about humanity. Because when fans become bettors and bettors become abusers, where's the line? Where does the game stop and real life begin? The WTA and ADP have tried implementing policies to combat gambling abuse. There are now AI systems and moderation teams monitoring player mentions and filtering hateful messages. But the scale of the problem is staggering, and every week, a new player gets targeted. And this raises a haunting question. How much longer can players endure this before it changes the sport forever? Pegula and Keys both agree. Gambling is here to stay. It fuels revenue, sponsorships, and global interest. But they believe the sport hasn't done enough to protect its athletes from the dark side of that expansion. Keys said bluntly, "Everyone loves the money that betting brings in, but no one's talking about how it's destroying players mentally. You can't celebrate the profits and ignore the pain." That's the brutal truth. Behind every statistic, every betting line, every odds update, there's a real person. Someone who wakes up every day to train, to fight, to represent their country. And that person doesn't deserve to be told to die because a stranger lost a bet. Even as the WTA finals approach, with Pegula set to face defending champion Coco Gauff and Keys going up against Iga Swiatek, both players carry the weight of more than just competition. They're representing every athlete who's been harassed, every young player scared to open their DMs, and every woman in sport who's been told she's cost someone money. This isn't about fragile egos, it's about basic decency. And maybe, just maybe, Pegula and Keys speaking out will finally make tennis confront what it's ignored for too long. Because this isn't just a tennis story, it's a mirror held up to our society. One where passion has turned into profit, and empathy has been replaced by entitlement. The next time a player misses a shot or loses a match, maybe fans and bettors need to remember something. They didn't ruin your day. They gave you one. They gave you a reason to care, to feel, to cheer. And they deserve better than hate for simply being human. Jessica Pegula and Madison Keys didn't have to speak up. They could have stayed silent, protected their brands, and moved on. But they chose to expose the truth, because staying silent only feeds the problem. And that courage deserves attention, not abuse. You've been watching Netrush Report, your source for the emotional rivalries, powerful comebacks, and human stories that define the world of tennis. If this story opened your eyes to the darker side of the sport, hit that like button, subscribe, and join us as we continue to bring you the truth, raw, honest, and real. Because here, it's not just about the scores, it's about the people behind them. Netrush Report, where every match tells a story.